Okay, I gotta not be nervous. I'm nervous as shit. Okay. My clean date is February 29th. So, like I said, I do everything the hard way. I get a year every 4 years because I'm slow at this shit, man. But what I get, I do get. If I offend anybody or, make you think, that's what I want to do, is make you think. I want to make you feel. I want to help make you accept the responsibility that every single person in this room has. And that responsibility is to carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous. And the best way that I can carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous is to lead by example. Talk's cheap, they say, right? I was a salesman a couple of times. I could sell almost anything. I sold vacuum cleaners that people couldn't afford rent. I was evil. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself to start. As you can see, I'm a sexual species, just beautiful. Oh, man, I'm nervous. Hey, got to break the ice here, man. I got to get relaxed a bit, eh? Yeah, I remember when T-shirts used to be tight in the arms and loose in the belly. Now it's the other way around. I found recovery. Like I said, February 29th, 2008, I came to recovery. So I've got... I always say when I'm talking to people and one-on-one, some people, they lead with their clean time. Hey, I've been around this long. I always say that I've been around since I woke up this morning. Today's going to be another experience for me, and I have to get through it. And the way I'm going to get through that is by following the steps and the traditions and being a spiritual person and doing what those steps told me to do right off the bat. They told me to be open. They told me to be honest. But most of all, I have to be willing. So as long as I'm that, I'm going to be a better person. I was told when I first got into recovery that you're never going to be honest, Rob. You're just going to be a little less dishonest, okay? Strive for that. Don't strive for perfection. Because we've been told that it's progress, right? It's just progress. Learning to accept others. But before I could accept others, I had to accept myself. I was in this program for almost 7 months before I even learned to like myself and didn't want to die. I didn't want to die. I didn't come here because I was rich and famous or thought I could use monitor. See, my mouth is gone, man. Okay. I'm going to get this, okay? And you guys got the patience, right? Yeah, I know you do. I got lots of patience. I made lots of patience, and I've been a patient, okay? Which means I've been in jails and institutions, okay? I've done all that stuff. I could go into a complete thing about my life and my wreckage of my past and stuff like that, so I'm going to try to brief it up for you. I'm the oldest kid of 9 kids. We didn't have a bathroom until I moved out of the house. So my mom so this is how poor we were. That was in 1984. Okay. Do I have resentments against my father and all that stuff? Oh, I did have. But I finally learned through recovery that if I can forgive him, I can learn to live. Because if I have no resentments, it's not going to lead me to a relapse, because I was taught that resentments, and that was by someone carrying the message to me, and that was you people in these rooms telling me that resentments and reservations led to relapse. And I've been lucky enough, and I've worked hard enough, that I've only picked up one white key tag. Very, very, I did the work. I did what I was told. Like I said, I got clean right here in Sudbury. They took me under their wing. They did up here, just like they'll do in your area if they can see that you're willing to do the work. Because why do you think one of our main readings, How It Works, has the word work in it? Because that's what we have to do. We have to work for our recovery. If you put no work into nothing, what are you going to have? You're going to have nothing. If everybody gives you everything, you're not going to respect it. Respect's another big word in here. We can get in serious conversations and debates over the word respect. It's given, it's earned, it's whatever. Respect is what you decided to be, okay? I learned that I set my morals. I set my boundaries. I set my standards. I'm no better than anybody else. And I'm no worse than anybody else. And that was really, really hard for me to believe. But by people carrying the message of recovery to me, it taught me that I don't have to compete with any single person in this room. Recovery is not a competition. It's not the person that speaks the best or makes people laugh the most or has the shiniest car or dresses the best. That's not recovery. Recovery is being able to sit and look at yourself and feel human. Feel like you belong. My prayer used to always be, I have to learn to love myself. I just want to be a better me. And today, I'm only going to bring up social media once. All my social media posts, I always put ILM. It's because I love me. And I had so many people ask that and think that I was self-centered because I love myself. Well, you know what? When I hated myself as bad as anything, like I said, I wanted to die. That's how I ended up in recovery. I overdosed. I'm not going to tell you what it was because I don't want to make any relapse by saying that I was using drugs and stuff like that, because none of us in here did that, right? We didn't use drugs and shit, man. We all just decided, hey, I want to go sit with a bunch of other people, I overdosed. I went to the hospital. I stayed there I was in intensive care. They detoxed me chemically, so 21 days there. Then I locked myself in my sister's basement. I got the call to go to Sudbury, and I said, holy shit, I can't go to Sudbury, man. That's where I used to pick up all my dope. I've only been there to go to jail. I can't go there. And I came here, and I got clean. And like I said, I've been lucky to stay clean. And have I had hurdles and stuff through recovery? Mega. But every one of them I was able to get through because they told me to get a sponsor. You guys told me to get a sponsor. Get somebody to order me around. And when you're a self-centered fuck like I was, to get somebody to tell you what to do, that's hard to take. But I did it. I listened. I learned our literature. I passed our literature on. I was just telling the people that I'm sitting with at that table that when I first used to share, I just shared quotes from the books, because that's what we're supposed to do. That's what I was supposed to do. My sponsor told me I can go way off on a tangent, which I probably do, and I don't know because I don't remember what I said 45 seconds ago, okay? That's because whatever comes out of my mouth, today I'm responsible for. I might not remember, but I'm responsible for. And that's what I got to remember, right? Yeah. At 5 years clean, it all started when I was in treatment. My sister died, and this is the person that I was. My sister died, and then all I said to the lady in the thing, they said they're on the phone. They told me my sister died, and she could hear the phone. And she goes, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing. It's just my fucking crackhead sister's dead." I went back. I sat at the table. In recovery, I sat at that table, and I did do nothing. My sponsor, she came out to me. Her name was, no names, no pack drill, fuck it. Her name was Cassie, and I used longer than she was old. She was 23 years old, and when I looked at her, I see my sister, my little sister. And she told me that I have to learn how to grieve, how to accept these feelings, and then it was all right to cry. It was all right to get upset. And so I thought about my sister. So my sister became, as we call it, a higher power, a God of your understanding and all that stuff. My sister at first, when I first got in recovery, that's who was my higher power, because I remembered her when she wasn't hooking and doing drugs and stabbing people and just, having a good old time like we used to, surviving, And I did that, and I was able to accept that. Well, my sister was, this is weird, but this is what's coming to my mind. When my sister was like 3 years old, she used to wear little rubber boots like all little kids do. But she'd wear her boots and they'd squeak. And that was because she pissed in her rubber boots, so we called her Squeaky, okay? That was what we called her. We'd say, "Here goes Squeaky." But I remember I was riding with her on the snow machine. I had her on the back of the snow machine, and I went crazy. She fell off. She screwed her back up real bad. I was 14, and she didn't tell my dad what happened. She didn't tell nothing. She didn't go to the hospital until after they knew what was wrong, but she didn't want to see me getting beat by my dad. You know, she didn't want to see me get beat again. Because as being the oldest child, and you know, we're not supposed to take anybody's inventory, but my old man was a fucking dick, okay? He was a piece of work. And I've forgiven him a few times, and I'd love to be able to say to you guys that, oh, we sit together and we have great times, but we don't. My dad's left me in the bush. My dad's broken my jaw. My dad has smashed my head through drywall. And that's what he did as well. I thought sex was grabbing your wife and raping her when I was growing up, because that's what my dad would do in front of me when he was drunk, right in front of us all. So I didn't have a great childhood, but you know what? I can't blame that on anything. Today I know that anything that I do, and this is the message that I pass on, I'm responsible for. You people taught me that to forgive someone and to let shit go is going to give me a better life. It's going to make my life happier. You know? So like I said, my sister died going through that. Within 5 years, my mother died, my best friend died, and I lost my uncle. I didn't pick up. And you know why I didn't pick up? Well, I did pick up. I picked up the phone, and I talked to people, and I dealt with it. I dealt with it the best way I knew how, the ways that you people taught me how to deal with things, by giving me the message that I'm no longer alone. I'm no longer alone. Nobody out there is alone. Like, I don't even care if I don't even know you. I'll help you if you're willing to help yourself. But if you're not willing to help yourself, fuck, live in your shit, man. Deal with it. And that's the way I am as a sponsor, you know. I can be kind. I can be loving. I can do all those things. But if you're not willing to do the work, you're not going to stay clean. It's just that simple. So that's why I say to pass the message of Narcotics Anonymous on to each other. That's what we do with everything we do. By giving somebody a hug, by giving somebody a look, you know, by just making them feel comfortable. You know, I've been to a lot of organizations. I know a lot of people here. I don't personally know you like on a real good basis, but I know that you want the same thing as I want. You want a better life every day. And that's my prayer, is to have a better life every day. You know, for the longest time I prayed not to hurt anyone, because I used to, when in my using days I collected things. I was in the military, okay, so I worked with explosive demolitions, so I could blow shit up. And when I got released from the military, I blew shit up. And I didn't work for bankers, okay, that's all I'm going to say. I did a lot of things in my life that I wish I'd never done, but I learned from them all. You know, we're told from every single thing that you go through, there's a lesson there if you can find it. If I can find that lesson, I'm going to learn from it, right? I've learned more from going through hardship than I have any good time I've ever had. You know, I've learned more from people saying, hey, you got yourself in that shit, get yourself out. You know, get yourself out. Because like I said, when I picked up that key tag, I didn't know it right then, but I know now today. That's when I became responsible. Shit, there's a lot of people here, man. I'm glad you're at tables, but I just want you to know I'm not giving you no hors d'oeuvres or anything like that. Hey, you're not getting no food. Okay, all you're going to get is to listen to my stuff, to my message. And hopefully look at yourself and remember why you got here. Why did you come here? I reflect a lot, you know, on the things that I've changed and on the things that I do now. That's what makes me the person that I am. It was funny when people, a lot of my friends and people that I know in my area, which is Georgian Heartland now, I'm the guy that sits in the room that if you shoot your mouth off too much, I'll tell you to shut the fuck up. Yeah. No, I'm that guy. I am that guy. I'll do it in a nice, peaceful manner most of the time. I'm not perfect. I'm so far from perfect, it's scary. But I didn't come here to get perfect. I didn't come here to get perfect. I got here to be clean and to learn how to live and to be able to get out of bed. And I can look in that mirror now and I can say, wow, you're sexy, man. You are one good-looking dude. I can't believe that. Laughter is a huge part of my recovery. Because when you learn to laugh at yourself, you can laugh with others. Right? Yeah, like I said, I've had all kinds of losses. I wanted to be. Did any of you want to be addiction counselors when you went through treatment? How many of you wanted to be that? Well, I wanted to be that, right? I wanted to be an addiction counselor. So it took me a few years, and I think I was about 7 years clean, and I applied for the social work program because that's what you have to do in my area to get addiction, to become an addiction counselor. So I went through the social work program. I was going to go through it. I paid my money and everything like that. And I was on my bike coming back to my house, and a car hit me. Okay? So my back got right screwed up. And you know what? I wasn't sad. I was so happy I didn't have to go. I was afraid. I had so much fear of going on that thing and failing. And then I found out that the more I failed, the more I grow. My mother told me a thing when I was very, very young. She said, Rob, how do you know how far you can go if you've never failed? How far do you know you can push yourself if you've never failed? You gotta get out there. You'll hear us talk in the rooms about change. We are the people that are responsible for our change, right? We make our life. It's nobody else's fault. I put myself in that situation. I can get out of that situation. I've been in bad situations. I was 5 years clean and I was homeless because I was too stubborn to listen to the rules that my roommate had so much said, and I wanted to punch him out, so I thought it'd be better to leave than to punch him out. And I still had such a big ego that there was no way I was asking anybody for help. I knew that I could make enough money and get my own place again. So I slept on the street for almost 2 weeks. I don't think there's very many addicts out there that'll say that their ego was that bad. But mine was. I didn't know enough to ask for help. And yet if I had been listening to the messages that you people give me, you tell me that all I have to do is reach out and accept it. I was willing to give everybody else help, but to take it for myself, I wasn't ready. I wasn't willing. Yeah, I like to say my recovery's been perfect, but it hasn't been. I never dated anybody in recovery for my first 8 years. Because apparently I was a womanizer. Apparently. I like to screw around. Women, I used to look at women, before I got clean, I looked at you women and you guys are going to hate me, but that's all good, man. You'll get over it, I hope my wife has gotten over it. I've had 3 of them too, so I'm not very good at that either, but shit happens, right? You go through shit. You learn, right? I used to look at women as a paycheck, okay? I looked at everybody as a paycheck. But that was to get into fine drugs and to do what I wanted to do and do the least amount of shit that I had to. I'm a little bit all over the place. I do apologize. But I'm starting to get a little less nervous. My mouth isn't quite as dry as it was. I don't think my tongue's going to crack, but it might. I'm not sure. I just have to keep sucking back some more water here. I didn't date. I'm not saying I didn't have sex. Well, there was a couple girls I liked a little bit. But I never dated anybody for 8 years. And then I met my wife. And I've been with her since. I don't know why she puts up with me. But she does. they say guys shouldn't sponsor girls, girls shouldn't sponsor guys and stuff like that. And I believe that, but I had sponsored women and I had helped them get through the steps. Because for me, when I was sponsoring a woman, I was just teaching them the literature. I would tell them to talk to someone else. They would have someone else and stuff like that. I didn't want to get into their stuff. But I was doing that with my wife, and you guys know she's my wife, so I can't say anything. I hugged her, and the first time I hugged her, I said, uh-oh, I'm growing. I can't sponsor this woman. So, I ended up being with her, and she's put up with me, and we got six grandkids, 6 beautiful grandkids that have never seen their papa or their nana use, that are just awesome. Things are just coming into my brain, and it's crazy, because when you're like me, and I do have some mental issues, a few, but I knew that I had to step outside this program to get help with them, because that's what my literature tells me. That's what it tells me, Outside issues are to be dealt in the outside. I was told to bring my problems here and find a solution here. Because Narcotics Anonymous, we're supposed to be solution-based, right? That's what we are. We're solution-based. Find your problem, identify your problem, find a solution to that problem, and if you can't do that, get someone to help you. Find it. Do the work. That's all I ever say is do the work. I've sponsored people, of course. When I sit down and I talk with them the first thing I say to them is, I have 5 requirements that I need from you, and I want you to have 5 requirements that you need from me, because we're going to write up a contract, and this is what we're going to live to. We're going to be honest with each other. We're going to go to meetings. We're going to call each other, and they're going to call me to start, and then I call them, or whatever we do. Oh, I'm going to fall asleep, Rob. How do you do that? See, I wasn't smoking yesterday. Okay, I'm going to just beep, beep. This is one of them big things, squirrel. I wasn't smoking yesterday, and I hadn't smoked in 4 months, and I bought a pack of smokes this morning, and I had 6 cigarettes in half an hour. So my mouth's a little dry, okay? But that's just me being honest. You know what? I can laugh at myself. And I think that's cool. When I go home, I won't smoke. That's what I'm telling myself. But I know what to do, not to do it. It's just, oh well. I don't like the smell. Okay, get back to, I got to take a drink. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm a young fella. I'll be 64 in September, right? So my scrapping days are over. I just don't know it sometimes when I get pissed off at people. My wife reminds me, or my daughters will say, Dad, you're not 25. Like our kids, they grew up with me in prison, and the first thing my daughters said to their 2 husbands, who are their husbands, this is going to really sound weird to you people, is my daughters married their first boyfriends. And my daughters told their first boyfriends that I just want you to know my dad's in prison and he doesn't mind going back there. And that was how I rolled. That was how I rolled. I love my whole family. I love you people too. I had a sponsor. After I parted with my sponsor that I had for 14 years, I got another sponsor, and he told me that I had to love everybody. Like, love everybody. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's rough. I can accept everybody. I can love you when you're in the rooms, and I can accept you. But it's a lot of people, like I said, man, we all didn't go to private school, okay? We all weren't rich. We all did crime. Most of us. Some of us didn't. There's addicts here probably sitting in this room right now that had everything given to them in a perfect way of life, but just didn't know what to do. And I believe like I said, I went to the social work program. Okay, here I am. I knew I'd get myself back there. I went through the social work program, and believe it or not, I ended up, I got like 78 the first term, and then I was an honor student all the way. I got 3 awards from the school. I got awards from Georgian College for being the person that helped everybody the most. made events in the community and stuff, and then I was, I was way out there. I was putting myself out there, and it was good. It was beautiful. But then I thought, wow, am I doing this because I want to do this, or am I doing this because I want people to talk about me? Do I want people to say, oh, look what he's done. Oh, look what he's doing now. I don't want that. I can tell you right now, to this day, I don't own my house. I have a nice house because it has a nice woman in it. And I have a big screen TV, okay? I didn't want anything more than a big screen TV. But you come to my home, and it's a recovery home. We have key tags down the walls. I have all kinds of key tags there. When I was 10 years clean, and some of you are going to disagree, but my kids have never been to any NA meeting or any of my celebrations or any of that, because you know what? It's me that's got the problem. It's me that has to deal with that problem. You know, I believe in Al-Anon. I believe in, Nar-Anon, or I don't know, man. I believe in all that shit. We got to get help, right? But I'm not going to make my kids go to meetings and stuff. I don't make anybody do anything they don't want to do anymore. I don't manipulate, you know. I learned how to manipulate when I was 6 years old. I got run over by a school bus, okay? And it crushed my leg, so I was away from school for like 3 months, and in traction and stuff. And when I went to school, I had to go in a wheelchair. And I found out that everybody would push me around in that wheelchair, and I got a free ride, man. That was my first taste of learning how to manipulate, right? Like, when I look back at my life, I know where I've learned all my character defects. And I was told by my sponsor that it's not a defect, Rob. It's an asset being put there for you to be able to use. I told people, you want someone that can sponsor you, that's going to teach you the way? Find somebody that's a bigger fucking manipulator than you are, okay? Because that's going to work. That's going to work, because they're going to make... I was told... my sponsor made me feel like I was coming up with all these great things, you know, when really he was embedding them in my head. Okay? I thought I was all God almighty, right? Like I said, I got named... They named me Robo because I did things automatic. At my 1 year medallion, the room was full. I think every single person from Sudbury was there. And they said, just follow him. And you know, it was good to hear that. But now when I think of that, they put so much pressure on me. You know, I couldn't screw up. Like I say, even now to this day, if I relapse, am I going to be able to come back? I don't know. I'm honestly saying to you, I pray my ego isn't too big, but I know it's not going to happen because my wife would kill me, so, you know, I'd probably kill myself. Hey, wow, I'm getting really truthful. Sorry, people. I'm not sorry. I'm telling my truth, and this is what it's about, to pass a message, to pass a great message on. And I hope that I passed a great message on. If I talk too long, I'm used to sharing and, you know, going, okay, I talked 3 minutes. If you share for 3 minutes, any more than that, you're preaching, not teaching, eh? You're feeding your ego, right? Well, I used to feed my ego like a bugger, man. Okay, so like I said, went through social service, did that great, got into the addiction program. I was 2/3 of the way through it, and they couldn't find a placement for me because apparently they do hold your past against you, okay? They're going to tell you they don't, but they do. They couldn't find a placement for me. But don't worry, Rob, we'll find something. You can do this and you can do that. And I'm thinking, if they can't find a placement for me, and then they found one, and I was working in a harm reduction place, where we all know how well that works, harm reduction. You know, we all have different opinions. And I'm going to give you my opinion. It don't fucking work, man. Harm reduction don't work. You're either an addict or you're not an addict. You know, I actually have resentments of people that can do a little bit of partying and be good. They're not like me. They're not like you. We always say 1 is too many and 1,000 is never enough, right? That's where we are. That's where I am. That's why I said I went and I bought a pack of cigarettes and I smoked 6 in half an hour. That was really, really good. I have no addictive habits whatsoever. So I went through the addiction part. They found me a place. They're teaching harm reduction. I said, yeah, I'm not doing this. So I walked away. But for almost 8 years, for 6 years, I had ran a clean house in Aurelia, which is, a halfway place for people that want to recover, that want to help recover and stuff like that. And some of them want it, and some of them just want a cheap place to live. And I found that out quick. But I did the best that I could do. And I worked at that place up until 3 years ago. We moved. That's when we moved to the house that we have now. But I stopped doing that, and I was wore out. I was tired. I was tired of having people lie to me and stuff like that. So I've learned now that, and I knew it then, but I only help the people that need to be helped. That not need to be helped, that want to be helped. There's a difference between needs and wants. And I'm sure most of you or all of you have worked on those. And I know I'm useless. Thank you. Poor little. See, I even make kids cry. Actually, I make kids laugh like a bugger because I'll be walking through the store and I'll see a little kid. And imagine my big, my muddy face there up there and looking at the little kid and going, how are you? Make weird noises and getting them laughing and shit. I live life to the fullest. But everybody, I think, in Aurelia knows I'm an addict and that I'm a recovering addict. And people call me all the time and come to my place for help. But they only come if they're willing to know. My door's always open. I'm not one of those phony people that say, my door's always open. Just come and just come. You have a place. Because you do have a place. And everybody, I can guarantee that most of the people in this room would help anybody if they ask for help. And like it says in our literature, it doesn't matter, men, women, poor, broke, whatever. We're going to help each other because that's what we do. We help each other. And to be able to help somebody makes me feel good. That makes me feel good about myself. Does it hurt my feelings that people are leaving? Not even a little wee bit. I'm a sarcastic fuck. I get it from my mother. My mother used to sit in the house at home and she'd be thinking we had a big picture window there. And she'd see somebody pull in the laneway and she'd go, oh, what the fuck do they want? And they get to the door and she'd go, can I get you a tea? Yeah, I learned how to be phony early. Yeah, I love life today. I looked through all our literature, seeing if I could find something that just, because of going to school and knowing that you have to look things up and how I got my recovery, right, was to find facts and figures and stuff like that. Well, the facts and figures, folks, are right here in this room. Have you learned more from doing what was suggested to you in your recovery or what you wanted to do? What's taught you more? Leading by example, showing an example, staying clean. I try my best to do my best. And I always say, if my best isn't good enough for you, that's your fault. That's your inventory. I have lots of little sayings that I use in my recovery, and one of them is the moment I start to justify something to myself, that means that I'm trying to manipulate somebody or I'm doing the wrong thing. To justify is to testify, because I did a lot of that shit in my life, testify. I remember the last time I went to jail and I was in court, and the Crown turned to me and he said, you should have been a lawyer because you would have kept yourself out of jail. Like, I was a good manipulator. I was good at it. I could lie, man. I could lie. I could make, I could make a lot of people do a lot of bad things. I'm hurt. Is somebody going to tell me when I'm supposed to be done? Okay. So what's the weirdest thing that ever happened to me in recovery was coming here to speak. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this so bad. So 6 months ago, they called me. A couple buddies called me and say, "Yeah, we're gonna get you to speak up there." And I said, "Yeah, cool. That sounds cool." And they all knew that I don't like to speak. Not anymore, because it used to feed my ego like a bugger, right? If I'm going to speak somewhere, I like to know about, 15 minutes before. So then I don't make no rehearsed speech or anything like that. And as you can tell, I didn't rehearse this, because if I did, I am one shitty actor, let me tell you. I enjoy passing the message on, but like I said, the message for me is leading by example. Showing that person what you've done, how far you've come, and that you can help anybody. The weirdest person in the room. I met people when I first came to NA that I fucking hated. I thought, you arrogant fuck. And now they're like my best friends, because what they were doing was they were telling me the truth, the pricks. They're telling me the truth. The truth is true. The truth will set you free. Honesty is what we need. To just reach out and help someone. If you did that, if you do that, and I will guarantee this, I don't guarantee a lot of things, other than the Leafs are going to blow it tomorrow night. There you go. I love it, a whole bunch of Leaf fans. I'm a diehard, buddy. I used to wear a lot of Leaf stuff, and people would say, "Oh, Robo, you're still living in denial." And I'd say, "No, it's not denial, baby. It's hope. I'm living in hope." And that's what I use. That's how I think. I try to find the positive. Find the positive in things. If I can find the positive in things, that's going to let me send the best message that I can send. If I dislike what you're doing, it's probably because I've done it before, or I'm thinking of doing it. Okay, because that's how I work. Wow, this is a long time, eh? No. Actually, the first time I ever spoke was in Sudbury. I'm not supposed to say Halloween because we don't say that, but it was at a dance. Okay, it was at a dance, and I spoke there. I had 7 months clean, and I didn't even know I was speaking. Right? My sponsor says to me after the first person, he said, "Go outside and say a little prayer." And I go, "Why?" "Because you're speaking." And it was beautiful. I don't even remember what I said. But life today is good. Life today for me is good, and I don't care how long I talked. I'm done. I feel like I'm babbling, and I apologize to everybody here. I hope you guys have an amazing Orkna, and meet someone. Go out there and talk to someone that you don't even know. Reach out. Just reach out to someone. That's what these things are for. Or for us to come together as a group and show that we have people. And obviously we have people. We have each other, And the only reason I can have another person is because I accept myself. Right? Yeah, I talked too long, I think. I'm sorry. I'm done, man.
Sorry, this is the first time I've ever done this, and I'm nervous as hell.
It doesn't show, man.
I didn't think so. On behalf of Orkna, I'd like to thank Robo for that amazing message. Thanks for sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and thank you. Would you guys like to join a circle, close this meeting, join a circle, and read version of the Serenity Prayer?
I'm an addict. Let the circle represent what we can't do alone. We could definitely do together. Keep in mind that this circle might have once been made for you. Can we have a moment of silence for the addict who still suffers and might have walked by here and not known we were here? If you're thinking of anybody that should be here with us, you can think of them in your head now while we have this moment of silence. Can we have it now, please? Serenity prayer. God, grant us serenity to accept the things that cannot change, courage to change things that can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back, it works if you work it, so work it, so work it.
Awesome. Now I can do
Jacob. I know, I got to speak too. Well, I'm good.
Stand down. I feel like I've been told. Switch sides? Yeah, go on the right side.
I think a little bit easier to start over than trying to fix it.
I generally.
Let me see if you guys Oh, okay. I certainly hear you. Hey, are you guys?
What we have now? 11:30.
Okay. I'm going for a cigarette. Yeah, brother. I'm so glad you came. Yeah, made me happy when I see you walk through.
I just want to say hi. I met you last year.
Yeah, it's comfy. It's comfy. It's comfy. Yeah, no. I was like, let's go. I got right in my seat. I'm like, now I'm like starting fresh right when I take a
Which one, the main speaker? Yeah. I like having my water and my coffee. I never eat. I feel more alert. Yeah, like I just didn't want to. Apparently our predecessors were doing a
Annually, I'm like, okay, so I bought 7 tickets. Yeah. And she sent me an email and said, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I don't have your number, but you